Randy, where are you?
I'm leaving.
Thank you, dear.
Bye, Randy.
Bye, everybody.
Okay.
And Stuart, for time being, can you mute Patrick and then let him raise his hand for questions because he's got that background?
You don't mind if I do that, do you?
No, mute me. Go ahead.
And then if he has a question, have him raise his hand so we
Okay.
can.
For those of you joining right now, all we simply did so far today is we did our fine meeting. We now move on. Oh, and we also discussed the fact that everybody must wear a mask now in the gym while working out. That is now under Broward County rules and regulations.
Stu, before we move on,
Go ahead.
Mr. Fry had a question before, I don't know if you saw it,
I did
that
not-
if, okay, he said if you're 6 feet apart, does that mean you don't have to wear a mask? For instance, in the lobby?
No, it said the new county requirement said regardless of social distancing.
Okay. Okay, what about out front of the building by the benches?
That outdoors is the same thing. The county made it for indoors and outdoors now.
So
Okay.
sitting on the benches without a mask is not acceptable.
Orders, 2020 and 20-22. Both of those give us all the requirements that we now must follow in a multi-family dwelling, which is what Parliament House is. And
Okay.
trust me, we have looked at this upside down, inside out, trying our best to interpret it in the best way we could for the residents of the building. But Department of Health came in here and God knows they'll probably be back. So we have
And
to
that-
abide by the rules and the laws.
And
Okay,
that
so
does-
I'm gonna put that in the minutes that it's throughout the property.
Yes.
Okay,
Including the front chairs, that includes the front benches.
Everywhere's on property.
okay.
All right. Discuss and or approve management contracts. I'm going to rephrase that a little. I think we need to discuss and choose a management company to take us forward. But I don't think we need to approve them for a contract yet until we renegotiate and find out exactly what the fine points mean in writing.
Agreed. Yes.
All right. So while we will make a decision today and choose, we will negotiate and then come back and make a final acceptance of the management company, whoever it is.
So we're just going to decide on who we're going to go into negotiations with, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not selecting just one. I'm not agreeable just selecting one to negotiate with. I think because I have questions and I would like to negotiate with maybe the 2 finalists. You know, just not pick one. You know, I mean, you got to be open to all of them.
I think today's the day we decide on one.
I agree on one. I think that we've given them the chance to make
Yeah.
everything, but we don't have it in a contract form. And that's why I don't want to approve anybody until we see it in black and white on paper.
So why don't we get the contracts from the 2 most that we feel we should go to and negotiate?
That's pretty much what we've been doing.
Choose a company, Bill.
No, we just had we just had a presentation from each of the 3 companies. That's all we had, a presentation.
I
And that's
know.
all we did. So
And
now,
we had emails from the companies also with sweetening the pot. Those were after the presentations. So we just want to make sure that the things that they're offering us is put into the contract because we don't know that yet. But I
Well,
think we do need to pick
then how can you
one
select
company.
one today and say we're going to turn around and give us we're going to negotiate with you? Are you going to give the other company, well, whoever that may be, a chance to negotiate as well? We go to them and negotiate as well, and then see what's the best.
Personally, I don't think it's only about money. It's also about service.
That's
So,
right.
But we obviously we can use to both companies to see that if we can sweeten the deal. Honestly, when I show the numbers are pretty close. I think it's really about service this time around.
No.
So what I'd like to do is, first of all, just for the ownership, for the owners out there, I just want to make one statement. No matter who we choose, number one, it's a board decision. The board will make that decision alone. Number two, no matter who we choose, if we stay with First Service, we will have a new building manager. That was something that was discussed and agreed on by all parties. So if we stay with First Service, there'll be a new building manager. And of course, if we go over to either Campbell or Castle, there will be a new building manager, new company. All right? Here's my dilemma. And Howard, I agree with you. The numbers are very, very close. I'm afraid of moving to a new company and having all the residents all over again create a whole new bill pay and click pay.
Yeah.
We saw what happened last time, the first time we did this. And the horror.
I agree.
That scares me a lot.
Agreed.
I also am very nervous about being able to retain our key personnel.
Yes.
Okay, and speaking, and Stuart, speaking to that, in the contract, and I sat there, instead of watching TV, I read the contract, page 7 of the contract, to retain employees, if we go with another company, it's a 30%, it's a 30% buyout of the employees we want to keep. So 30% of their base salary. And you got to take a look at that. And that's if they only want to stay. And if they don't want to stay, you know, if we go to another company, there's only 3 people right now currently in the contract that we said we can keep, because there was actually 7, but all the others have left. So there's only 3 left. That means 14 employees would be going out the building when another company takes over.
Possibly.
Well, that's not necessarily true, Bill. Yes, it's possible. It's not necessarily true. I mean, for example, wait, let me finish, Bill. There's 17 total employees, of which, let's say, for argument's sake, 7 are at the security or whatever you want to call, concierge desk, whatever you want to call that front desk. Most likely, First Service will not request to buy them out or bring them aboard. The issue really, I think what Stuart is talking about, and I apologize if I'm talking to you, Stuart, is the maintenance people. I think we have a staff of 4 people. Those are the people that I think, based on my conversations with Stuart, he's most concerned about losing.
I am more concerned about housekeeping and maintenance than I am front desk.
Okay, so then that's a total of 7 people out of the 17.
Front desk people as well.
But front desk is part of First Service, so they go as well.
That's right, except for Janelle.
No,
Janelle is not protected under the contract, if you look at the contract, and neither is Barbara Fernandez.
Okay.
Right.
I don't understand why, because they were here before First Service,
yes.
but their start dates are listed as November 1st of 2017.
Bill, Rich, I don't think Barbara was here before Fonnie came in. I think Fonnie hired her.
Okay. I thought she was here. My mistake. But you know what? I'm just going to give you my bottom line here, and I'm going to cut straight to the quick. I'm not going to be held captive by a company that I feel has been negligent in providing the right level of service for us just because they own the employees. We've discussed it with the other companies. They're saying they have the potential to negotiate to reduce that 30% and possibly charge nothing, because no companies want to lay people off in this environment and get that kind of reputation. They are willing to come in immediately and start those negotiations with employees before things get started and rumors fly, which I think is part of the negotiation. They may be unsuccessful, which may change us to say, okay, that's something that we wanted and you said you could provide, You can't do that? Well, then maybe we're not gonna go with you.
Okay.
So, but I'm just not gonna be held captive.
Can I just pause for 1 second? I just have to make one announcement. Well, she can't hear it, she's not in. There's a Catherine something or other Zagrafos, who's trying to get into the meeting, and for some reason Zoom is not admitting her. So I don't know what the problem is, but just wanted on the record that we tried to admit her into the room and it's just not happening.
So getting back to the point, part of the negotiations with, if a company other than First Service is selected, is that we can probably negotiate and let them absorb the cost. We don't know at this point, but it is definitely will be a cost.
In the presentation, bottom line, they said they would eat up to 15,000 of the buyout. If you take a look at what employees you might want to keep, which is maybe Omar, and you talk about the other maintenance person that just came on board, which is doing an excellent job. And if you take the front desk and Barbara, those 4 people, that comes over to $42,000. So in turn, that's 30% of their salary. So bottom line is they eat 15,000. We got to pay the difference.
Yeah.
So
And also, they're not going to let Omar come to us.
no,
We
absolutely
can't
not.
stop him. Lorraine,
Yeah.
they cannot stop him. If he chooses to leave and come, he can leave and come.
Right. So if they choose to leave and go to another property with First Service, that means we're going to have 14 people coming into this building brand new.
That's
And
right.
the other thing you got to look at is the transition part of this if another company is chosen. It's in the contract, page 1, it says exclusive manager, exclusive management manager. That means the association. That means the current management company is under contract until October 31st / no company is going to come in here and sit with First Service for 100 days prior to coming in. They're going to transfer their information, financial information, over to the new company. And what is that start date that that new company wants to do? And turn around and say, okay, you want to do it at 5 o'clock takeover, a midnight takeover? And that time First Service walks out the door, and that means the new management company has to get 14 employees into this building to run the building. That's the transition. So you got to take a look at what is the real transition. They said they got 100-day coming in here and doing all this, but there's a lot of things we lose. We lose the First Service preferred banking with all the interest rates that we get.
Oh, that's what we want to do, is to lose it. I'm
What?
not happy with what we got.
The preferred banking, we were making
Get
34,000.
at any place.
Okay, but do they have preferred banking? We didn't ask that question. They didn't give us that information. So I think, and
I think
The
they
web-
did. Howard, can you address that? Howard.
Howard?
I think he's,
All
there he is.
Okay, I can give you part of that from the meeting that we had specifically with Castle, where they said those rates are rates that they can get. They said those are rates that we can get on our own if we go into the bank, and maybe even better, because actually what's happening is First Service is using their preferred banks, and those banks are giving them a kickback. That's money that we should be getting. So they're saying we can get those rates. Can we? I don't know, but I'm going to explore it. That's definite.
I think if we can get it at least as good as we're getting now, if not better. And Bill, when we went to Castle for their presentation, they said that they come in here for 100 days. They sit with the manager. They get all the paperwork. They get the routine. It's an easy transition over. Howard, am I correct?